You're probably watching this to find the best camera for you as a filmmaker. And in the past 6 months, I took the Lumix S1 II to Amsterdam, Costa Rica, La Palma, Germany, Vietnam, and now El Salvador. So let me save you some time by telling you if I regret switching from Sony to Lumix in this video. This is about my current Lumix travel setup, my favorite lenses, and the features that stood out to me after real-world use for months. And we'll start with a feature that I just learned to enjoy a lot lately in Costa Rica. From the way we travel, it feels like backpacking. New locations every few days, lots of hikes, exploration, but our luggage looks more like we're going on a full family vacation. So to keep everything as lightweight as possible, I try to bring only the essentials. And that's where the Lumix Flow app comes into play. I can mount my iPhone directly above the camera and connect it with a single USB-C cable. And then I instantly have an external monitor. No HDMI gear, no wireless lag, and all of that with a phone that I have right in my pocket. You can also use this feature wirelessly with Wi-Fi, which works great, but it still has more latency than if you just use the USB-C cable. So this is a really clean and simple way to have an external monitor on your travels. And the best part, since the last update, we finally have Lock Color Assist on the app. This was one of the most requested features, and honestly, I'm so happy it's finally here. So for composition, checking focus, and client previews, this setup works great. It's a lightweight monitoring rig without the actual need of an additional external monitor. In my past nearly 2 years with Lumix, I've rotated through a lot of lenses, but only 3 of them stayed in my bag consistently. The first of them is the one that I'm using right now and I'm using most of the time. It's the 24-60 f2.8 lens. This lens is lightweight and 24mm where it starts is enough wide angle for me to vlog or to film the landscapes. And if I want to zoom in to film something closer, 60mm is enough for me. There also is a 24-70mm lens, but it's more heavy, and this one is way more comfortable, and I don't really miss these 10mm difference in the end. It's compact, sharp, and super reliable. Now the second lens is one that I don't have with me this trip. It's the Sigma 35 f1.4, which I mainly use for portrait shooting. So portrait shooting in the sense of filmmaking and photography. I used it a lot on Socotra, where I was filming other people. That's where it like shines. You get this blurry background, beautiful sharp image, and the autofocus on the L mount of the Sigma works great. So I take this on every travel where I aim to film culture and people. Now one lens that stays in my bag all the time is this one. It's the 16-35 f4, and the wide angle is perfect for interior shots, and it's still versatile. So I could still use it while going around, traveling, because if I don't want to use 16, I could still use 20, 24, or even up to 35. On this focal length, Sony actually offers f2.8, which can be helpful if you shoot lots of low light. I don't do that, and if I vlog with this lens, I don't want the background to be super blurry. So f4 is fine for me, and therefore this one is even more lightweight than a 16-35 f2.8. Now this is the lens which I call the half of my lenses, because I only take this one on every second travel. This one is a 70-300mm lens with an aperture of f4.5 to 5.6. So it doesn't have the best aperture, but it's super lightweight and sharp. And 70-300 is great if you want to shoot wildlife. And that's the reason why I took this one to Costa Rica, for shooting wildlife. And even if I want to film people surfing, since we did a surf camp here, I could still film people surfing or take photos. So sports is a great topic for this as well. And you also have optical image stabilization built in, so this helps a lot. You can really see the difference, of course. And the autofocus also is really good on this thing. So this is the lightweight tele-zoom option that I take on any wildlife sports trip. Now I'm curious, from all the lenses that I just told you, which one is the one that you would use the most? For me, it's a 24-60 f2.8 for sure. The amazing thing about Lumix Color is that it even stays natural when you push it. Skin tones keep their shape, the greens on all the waterfalls here in Costa Rica, they just look good. And with Vlog I'm able to retrieve lots of information from the shadows. Overall, in my color grading process, Vlog is so much fun to use. So let me quickly show you my color grading process. I edit my videos in Adobe Premiere and I use 3 adjustment layers for this. You can use less, but I just like this workflow to keep everything organized and easily accessible. Overall, the whole color grading process is a bit more complicated, so make sure to check out Create Beyond if you want to learn more about Lumix cameras and my whole color grading and editing workflow. So first of all, actually on the second adjustment layer, I put the Vlog conversion LUT, and on the upper adjustment layer, I put one of my creative LUTs. So I already have the colors converted and I have the color style that I want to achieve with my LUTs. And then it's time to do the color correction for me. So on the lowest adjustment layer, I adjust the shadows, the whites, all the brightness, all the exposure, saturation, vibrance, and small details. I also adjust the temperature and of course try to retrieve details from the shadows and retrieve details from overexposed or what first looks overexposed areas. And this is like the base structure. Of course, there's a lot more behind it, so make sure to check out Create Beyond for that. In my previous video of why I switched from Sony to Lumix, I talked about OpenGate and what I love about it. And by now, it's the standard shooting mode. I barely use anything else. I shoot everything in OpenGate. Even if I shoot vertical videos on purpose, I just rotate the camera 90 degrees and still use OpenGate, because I found that this even gives you flexibility to adjust the position, the center of your video in post, which can be really helpful if you film yourself or other people that need to be centered in the video. So having the flexibility to use one shot for YouTube, Instagram, cinematic aspect ratios, or feed posts is so much worth to me, especially for travel filmmaking, where you just can't repeat a moment authentically. Now it's time for you to take a guess. All the shots that you've seen and the shots that you see right now, how do you think have they been stabilized? Was it a gimbal? Was it the in-body stabilization? And the answer is pretty simple. I mainly use the standard stabilization mode on the Lumix. No gimbal, no boost image stabilization. It's just handheld shot on a Lumix. And this is the one thing that blows me away every time, and I know when I shot with my previous camera, the A7S III, I had to be so extremely steady, and even then I knew there will be slight shakes. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. If I do like faster shots, I can still switch to high stabilization, but if I do like normal shots in a normal pace, I always use the standard stabilization and it works just great. When vlogging, that's the only time that I use cropless, just to have a wider field of view and to have like a bit of shake in the video. So if I go faster, you will see there are some shakes, but that's on purpose then, because when you vlog, you don't want the camera to be ultra smooth. So the cropless mode there is a way to keep things more action-packed. So for someone who shoots 95% of the time, at least handheld, I just don't ever look back to Sony and just love the stabilization of the Lumix S1 II and of course also on the Lumix S9. Do I regret switching to Lumix? Until today, Sony hasn't released any camera with similar features like OpenGate, and that's the number one thing that I would be looking for in a camera. So lately I used OpenGate a lot. I love to use Vlog, and especially the stabilization is one thing that really levels up the shots. The only last thing that I miss is an underwater case for my S1 II. Since the camera is pretty new, there are no cheap options available right now, so I hope brands like Seafrogs are actually working on it. So in short, I'm super happy to have the Lumix S1 II as my main creative tool. And if I need two cameras, the Lumix S9 is always with me. There are also new silver colorways available, I'll link them down below. And these two cameras help me to create everything that comes into my mind. This is my long-term Lumix travel setup. What is your setup? Let me know in the comments. Happy creating.